Hey, now it's time for me to try being sexy. And I also don't have a game like Rogue, so sorry that this might get a little bit boring. But this is, I guess, a foreplay and then a full-blown blowjob scene I'm about to read, so thank God there's no children here. So my friend Peah Emm and her friend Rhianna McNamara have a little ongoing thing where they love to write fan fiction. It's from my generation, the OC, and in this generation, Riverdale, mixed in the middle. So it's gonna be a fun time. PM for a good time. That's my handle. Anyways, here we go. Okay, he said, pulling up the app, reading out the first answer. Give a blowjob to an inanimate... What the hell, is this a dirty version? He asked, laughing as he showed them the result on the screen. What were you and Veronica doing, Betty? He asked, though mostly joking, a little too tipsy by that point to maintain any actual concern. Also, forgot to prologue this. So this is 500 pages, and we, Bria and I sifted through it and found this one truth or dare scene in which I sort of edited down so we could get to all the good stuff. And this is the good stuff, so... I guess it's gonna be one of these. Benjamin reached for one of the bottles, lingering over each one before settling on the one that Jughead had just been handling and peeling the wrapper off. Still warm from another man's grip, Benjamin hesitated a moment as he held it in his hand. He looked around, moving to the floor because, frankly, a person usually didn't give a blowjob from a sitting position on a couch. Instead, he moved to his knees, holding the bottle with one hand. Already his cheeks were burning a little, but he had done this before and he wanted to show off. So at first he licked along the opening of the bottle before swallowing it all down. That got really fast. So at first he, we've already read that, licked along the bottle before swallowing it all down. His eyes closed, fluttering shut as he pushed it further down his throat. It wasn't until he hollowed out his cheeks that he looked up and met Jughead's gaze, mouth still full of the bottle. It was enough to make Betty squirm, unable to help as she looked between the young hair and her boyfriend. I guess it's after Riverdale episode 6. It didn't anger her, not remotely. Instead, she felt her own skin start to warm and her thighs began shifting. Holy shit! Jughead brought a hand up over his mouth, not knowing whether to laugh or just to watch all wide-eyed like he'd been doing. It didn't help that Benjamin was looking at him like that. If Jughead wasn't sure of this kid's sexuality before, he certainly was now. Okay, this is where I jumped in just so we could get into the good stuff. This character, Benjamin, I actually don't remember there being a Benjamin on the OC, but apparently someone does, dared himself to give Jughead a blowjob. And we're just going to read that through for 3 pages. So get ready for it. It's very in-depth. It was enough to make them both smile. Benjamin tickling fingertips along the sensitive part of Jughead's thighs. Eagerly taking Jughead into his mouth, he swallowed him down wetly. He didn't show off, not yet, because frankly it was way more fun to watch all at the same time. He moved so Betty could edge in closer. Oh, also, it's a threesome now. Forgot to mention that. 2 guys, 1 girl. Yay. He moved closer so Betty could edge in closer. Her eyes glancing upwards to meet Jughead's. Betty benefited from having someone like Benjamin there, who frankly was showing off, because there was no nerves on his face, while Betty's cheeks were pink. Jughead let out an inevitable groan as Benjamin took him into his mouth so unhesitantly. No, he didn't exactly think his first blowjob was going to be from another guy, but he was hardly questioning anything with just how far it has gone. Still, he wasn't about to exclude Betty, and he reached out and touched her face, thumb grazing over her bottom lip. His focus didn't linger entirely on her, though, eyes darting between her and Benjamin, unable to help himself but watch as his successful attempts at showing off. Anything that Benjamin brought forward was bound to be impressive with sheer amount of experience that Betty and himself had. So apparently Betty and him hadn't had sex yet, so this is all a new experience for everyone. Great. Realistically, he knew he wouldn't last very long. Jughead was hardly one to even masturbate. Still, he took a shaky breath, trying to keep his wet dream from ending prematurely. So I don't know if this is being read from Benjamin, Betty, or Jughead, or if it's jumping around. These two ladies, they jumped around, so it's like page break, next person took over, so it's like their fantasy, I guess. Already impressed he had lasted this long, Benjamin continued to suck kisses along his thighs as he watched Betty from this angle. It was easy to appreciate what she looked like with a big cock in her mouth. The expression of bliss on her face as even she pulled off her hazy blue eyes as they rolled between her boyfriend and Benjamin again, her fingertips touching the skin she had been waiting so long to touch. "You're so soft," Betty sighed onto the skin near his hips, where her cheek came to rest for a moment. Taking the time to nuzzle along the curve of his leg and press some small kisses there, only to return the face that was Benjamin, whose eye contact she returned as they silently made an agreement. It wasn't another moment until they both are on him together, their mouths on either side messily pressing lips, of their tongues to silken flesh pressed up between their lips. It might have been inherent nervousness that was holding him back, though all Jughead felt was alcohol-induced euphoria and moving the thrilling sensation between his legs. How in the hell this could have turned into what was happening now was so beyond him. But as long as Betty didn't wake up with regrets, neither would he. Bearing the damage the alcohol did on his memory, this was something he would remember and cherish for the rest of his life. Their little tag teaming session wouldn't last as enticing as it would be looked too down on. That doesn't make sense. I should have edited that out. Jughead knew he was going to come into someone's mouth. It really just depended on who wanted it more. It was Benjamin who swallowed it down, the bitter taste blooming in his mouth and causing him to force it into his throat. Besides, he knew what he looked like. To watch someone like Benjamin with his powerful parents and privileged life and watch someone swallow something like an old pro. Okay, was Ben the one in the OC who was I thought that was Seth. Was it not Seth Cohen who was the rich one? Okay, cool. Is Ben even a character in the OC? Okay, well they fucked up here. I'm sorry about that. There we go. Good thing we got that covered. Thank you. Betty curled up into Jughead's side, moved her arms about him, and she reached to touch his hair, smoothing it out, if only to tangle her fingers in the dark locks and press a few kisses on his forehead and lips. At least a little overwhelmed by what happened, although no regret was inside her. Perhaps she had some anxieties about sleeping with her boss's son. I don't know where. But otherwise, Betty could see no real problems with what had happened. That's good. Can we go to bed somewhere? Benjamin suggested, assuming now that he had been involved with them, he wasn't likely going to be sleeping on the couch. Holy fuck, Jughead exclaimed. And that's it. Welcome to Blowjobs with Peah Emm. Questions about blowjobs, apparently. That's what people want to know here. Everybody knows. Yes, please.
Does that mean that Veronica was Street's judging?
No.
Oh, thank God, I was beginning to go naughty.
It's Benny, Benjamin, and Jughead. And that's it. Any other questions, or does everybody know how it works? Yes. Oh, we have two over there. You know, they're being young, so I'm not too sure where Archie was. Someone was fantasizing about Jughead and his toque, so don't blame him. Yeah. Probably Veronica. She'd probably be the cleanest down there. She has money. She probably has a Brazilian. Oh, shit. Anyways, that's TMI with Peah Emm. Any other questions? No. Thank you for having me.